Welcome to Snapshot. I'm your host, Alan Wolfe. And on this edition, we're going to take you along with us for an exciting adventure, a look into the world of radio-controlled model airplanes. And we're here today with two gentlemen who are very deeply involved in that hobby, Frank Reyes and Albert Estrabas, a Coral Gables resident. Gentlemen, thank you for having Snapshot in today. Albert?
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
What do we have here? You explained to me earlier that it is fiberglass. Of course, I thought it was plastic or something. Excuse me. Tell us about this.
Yes, this is a model 1/5 scale of a P-51D
Vintage,
fighter.
what year?
Vintage 1944 to 42, Second World War type aircraft. Very famous. Very well known, probably the best known aircraft that came out of the Second World War. The fuselage in this model is built out of fiberglass. It comes already poured, the fiberglass together. Now you have to get all the spars, all the wood inside. You have to build it, you have to cover it, paint it, put all the controls in them.
Okay, so this is basically an outer shell, and you have a frame here.
That is correct.
It's sort of like the skeleton system and the skin.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. So we have been working with this model for about 3 months now, and setting up the systems on it, which are rather complex.
I notice here, if you'll excuse me, I notice here it looks like you actually have wheel mechanisms that move up and down.
Yes.
So when it lands, it's like a spring cushion like you see at the airport.
That is correct. You can see the operation of it. Oops. We don't have the weight of the engine yet, so you can see it's got all your struts, simulated all your struts are spring operation.
Okay, when you get this put together, of course you're going to, well, this is heavy. What do you think of that, folks? You know, this also brings up another question, and the question is this: what would happen if one of these aircraft crashed into a car or a house or a person? I mean, you have to be careful, right?
Very much so. Albert, would you like to expound on that?
Well, this is why it is dangerous, and to a certain extent, like anything else.
I'll hand this to you.
And what people do when they fly these things, as we all do, we belong to an organization called AMA. It's nothing to do with a doctor's organization.
Unless you get hit by one of the airplanes, right?
That's right.
And what you do is you belong to them, and with the membership, you get furnished with insurance for cases like that. Of course, we never like anything like that to happen.
But there is human error and there is mechanical
definitely
malfunction.
This is why this is done in designated areas with a lot of rules and regulations.
This feels like it might be 15 pounds or more.
Not quite.
No, not quite.
But it's heavy.
And at the speed these airplanes travel, it could be very dangerous.
Yes, indeed.
Very much so.
Now this will eventually go into here, right?
That's correct. That is correct. It's already set up so that it will fit perfectly. This is the front, the back of the spinner.
Okay, now what's the function of this part of the engine? Because we are going out later to fly some of these aircraft.
This is the nose of the airplane, okay? All of this will be hidden inside the fuselage.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I would have to get a little tool, and I could put it in there for you.
Can we turn the aircraft so our viewers can see the front of this?
Certainly, certainly. Now, if you'll excuse me for a second, I'll walk over here and get
Albert,
this
getting
tool.
back to this engine for a minute. Would the parts that are contained in a model airplane engine be similar to those in a real aircraft?
Well, it would
Did I insult you by saying that this is not a real aircraft? Obviously, it is an aircraft, but it's not a full
Well, it
size.
performs exactly like a real aircraft. All the aerodynamics and other rules apply.
So on the engine, the parts would be the same, similar.
Well, this will be a piston engine. Of course, the original Mustang has had a much bigger engine with more cylinders than this one. This is just a single-cylinder engine, but it is a reciprocating engine, and it is a regular engine. Like
Do they consume a great deal of fuel?
It depends on the type of engine. Some of them work with fuel called glow fuel, which is a mixture of nitromethane, alcohol, and castor oil for lubrication. Sometimes they use synthetic oil. Some of these engines do work with a mixture of gasoline and oil. It would be a two-cycle engine. And of course,
Like a lawnmower.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, it depends on what type of engine you're using. It would have a bearing on the consumption, yeah.
What are we looking at in cost for just the engine, approximately?
It also varies. You can go anywhere from $50 all the way to $600–700.
In this case, about what would you approximate this engine value at?
This engine with the exhaust system, as it is, cost about $500.
That's a lot of money.
Yes.
Tell us about the two aircraft that we see here. First of all, who made them?
Okay, the full-size aircraft that this one models was built by Kermit Weeks, our Miami resident.
Of the Weeks
Weeks
Museum at
of the
the,
Weeks Museum,
should I
that
say
is
the
correct.
former Tamiami Airport, or is it back in operation now?
They're back.
Yeah.
And he built this aircraft and he entered it into world-class aerobatic competition. One of a kind. There were no others built. This model is exactly 1/3 scale of the real one, of the full-size one, I should say, not real one, but full-size. The only deviation on the color scheme between this aircraft and the full-size one is the fact that I have my name under.
Why not?
Instead of Kermit Weeks.
I'd have my name too. Probably our cameraman Rich Umansky would have his name on there as well if he could. There you
The
go.
airplane weighs, this model weighs 23.5 pounds. It has a 72-inch wingspan.
And I see the engine here.
Has a
Is
5
this a spark
horsepower.
plug?
Yes, it's a gasoline engine. It has 5 horsepower and it rotates a propeller that is 22 inches in diameter.
Okay, now this propeller to me feels rather sharp. The engine's running. You get that propeller next to you and it hits your skin. You're going to be hurt?
You're going to the hospital. You're going to the hospital. We had one gentleman 3 months ago, 4 months ago, that did exactly that. Ended up with 8 stitches in his arm right here.
We'll have our scars.
We all have our scars.
You all have
Would you like to see one?
And this looks like a very sophisticated piece of gear.
It is.
And may I turn the switch on and nothing
you
will
may.
explode? Okay. We have a liquid crystal display here that shows an aircraft. And you showed me earlier that we have a menu on here. You can actually choose your functions.
Yeah,
This is a computer radio.
Transmitting antenna here.
This is a computer radio. And if I push this button here, something's happening.
I hear it.
You hear it? Okay.
So it gives you
I
a
did something.
constant display of the status
Oh, I
of
know
various
why.
functions. Can this actually monitor the engine status or anything like that? Or what type of monitor functions do you have here?
It doesn't monitor. Okay, what it does is that it helps you set functions that this transmitter would do for you, but it will not follow up. It will not tell you what is happening in the airplane. There's no telemetry involved.
Let me just talk to my audience for a minute. You see, I knew all of this. Checking him out to make sure he was authentic. You passed.
Thank you.
If we can move on to this aircraft, tell us about this. Boy, this is nice, shiny.
Again, that is a 1/5 scale model of a Beechcraft Staggerwing, a very famous airplane.
Still in operation?
Still in operation. You see quite a few of them around. At the time that these airplanes were built by the Beechcraft company, they were the fastest civilian aircraft in the world.
Single engine.
Single engine, radial engine. It had, I believe, a 7-cylinder engine, didn't it? And a retractable landing gear. The wings for a biplane were awkwardly positioned in that the top wing was farther back than the low wing. which is not the usual scheme.
This is why it was called a stagger wing.
That's why it was called stagger wing beach. This model, again, was painted to duplicate an aircraft that I saw at the EAA fly-in Lakeland several years ago. A gentleman from Tavares, Florida, flew the aircraft in, and I was so impressed with the color scheme. Very unusual, black and white.
I can't wait to get out to the airfield because we are going to fly this one.
This one.
This is going up, folks. And hey, if I can talk him into it, fly it too. What do you think? No.
Well, maybe
Could I really do it?
Of course, we will be.
Okay, we're going out to the airfield. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Children are the largest group of Americans living below the poverty line. They have to reach higher for what others take for granted. Healthcare, balanced meals, encouragement to learn. But with help early on, children in your community can gain the skills to get out from below the poverty line. It takes programs like Success by 6 and people like you to help them take the first step. Call to learn more. Change the world of a child, and you change the world.
Alan Wolfe back with you again, and as promised, we are here at the airstrip where the 100 members of the radio club meet every Sunday. And first order of business, we're going to get with Frank over here on the Weeks aircraft that you saw over at the shop before. And actually, it's going to go up in the air now, right?
Yes, we are.
And obviously, I won't be flying it at first, but we have our remote controller here. What's first?
Well, first we're going to get the engine started. We have already filled the fuel tank. We have filled the smoke tank. We have turned the radio on and closed the canopy. We have the transmitter already on.
Okay.
If you focus on the aircraft, you can see me doing my pre-flight test with all the...
Don't want to get it up there and have something malfunction.
Absolutely not. We want to make sure that all the controls are operational, since we have to take the airplane apart every time we transport it and disconnect. So now, Albert is coming over to be my crew chief and hold the airplane, and we'll get the engine started.
Okay, now how does that work? How do we start the engine?
I can control the ignition with a switch in the transmitter. Right now I have the ignition off, the choke on, and the throttle completely open.
As we see the plane move down the runway, of course you can see Frank running in that direction so he can keep an eye on it. Uh-oh. Off the runway a little bit, Frank. Gee, I could have done that. Okay. Will you use the entire length of the runway?
No, we will not. There we go.
All right, here we go. Oh, is that a beautiful sight, Frank?
Let's see if for some reason my smoke system is not working. I'm sorry.
That's the Murphy's Law taking
Murphy's
effect.
Law today.
How far can you go with this aircraft before you lose radio contact?
As far as I can see it. If I don't see it, I have a problem, but the radio is still there.
So you have to be hunting and pecking out in the Everglades somewhere if you lose it.
That's correct.
Does that happen?
That has happened. I'm going to make a low pass so that you can see the flight characteristics. Then we'll start doing a couple of aerobatics, okay?
Okay. And later on, of course, we're going to see a trainer, which I'm going to get to do a little bit of, and a jet, which is coming up.
Yes, it is.
Have to be careful of collisions, I would imagine, as well. Wow. What is that called, Frank?
It has a vertical ascent, followed by with a roll.
Looks like your smoke's working.
It started working. And here we go with a lunchaback.
You think I can do that my first time out?
Not the first time.
Does that take a little, little practice?
Not the first time. Now,
I'm courageous, you know.
we're going to go way up and do an inverted flat spin, which is always a very exciting maneuver. but we have to start it way up.
How high are we looking at here? 1,000 feet?
No, right now we're about 250. We're going about to about 500 feet. Okay? Because
And
if
what's
we
the
go
speed of your
higher,
aircraft?
right now I'm doing about 70. We're going to go even higher. If we go above 500 feet, we really could get in trouble with the FAA.
Is there a problem as you get up 300 or 400 feet as far as the air intake in the engine?
No, no problem.
I guess like on a mountain, you can go up about 8,000 to 10,000 feet before you have breathing problems.
That's correct. Okay, here we go with an inverted flat spin with the smoke system going.
Is it difficult to maintain control? Wow, look at that, folks.
That is a maneuver that most full-size aircraft would not do.
Certainly not
We're
with
getting
me,
out of it.
They wouldn't do that.
Recovery,
Now, can you
and
bring that in right now and land it after all that twisting and everything?
oh yes. And this is so-called a roll, and there is a loop. And we're going to go up and do a little running around in there, and then we will land the airplane so that the other fellows can do their thing too, okay?
Sounds good to us. I know the folks at home are just enjoying this tremendously, as we are out here at the airfield. This is an exciting hobby, Frank.
It is, it is. We really enjoy this.
A lot of hobby shops around, I guess, if anybody's interested.
That's right.
How do they
and,
get a hold of your particular club?
This is called Southwest RC Club of Miami. We have been in operation for 9 years.
In the phone book?
And no, we're not in the phone book. It's a private organization.
Give the folks your number.
My number is 553-3564 in Miami.
553-3564 if they're interested in the hobby.
That's correct, and we'll be more than happy to introduce them to radio control model aircraft.
Well, this is tremendously exciting.
Go and go upside down, and then we will do it like this. And we're going to fly sideways. That's something else that not all aircraft can do.
And not all operators. Don't be modest. Takes a lot of skill on the part of the operator to be
Yes,
able
it
to
does.
do that.
It takes quite a few years of practice, too. So let's come on in, shut the smoke off, and we will land so that some of the other fellows can do their flying in front of the camera, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Coming in for landing.
Coming up, jet airplanes and a trainer. Pilot, huh?
That's right.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, they go about 190, 180 miles an hour.
All right, let's watch it. What type of aircraft is this?
This is a MiG-15. It was a Russian-built airplane, and I've got it painted up in the scheme that the Cuban Air Force used back in the 1960s when the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, we've seen some of these flying into the Miami area lately.
Well, those are MiG-23s and 27s. Those are newer aircrafts. These are back in 1960 era.
Okay, first order business, you have to turn it around.
Right.
I notice you don't look at your control box. You pretty well have the feel of it memorized, huh?
Know exactly where everything is. Okay, we're ready to go.
Let us know when you get that to full speed.
Okay.
What maneuver are you doing at this point?
Right now, I'm just doing a turnaround and getting ready to come on in into position.
I don't guess jets do acrobatics, do they?
They can. I'll do a couple rolls. And right now, I'm going to come in a dive and do a low flyby at full speed. We'd be looking at about 180 miles an hour. Coming in now.
Wouldn't want to be hit by one of these, would you?
Oh, you wouldn't. Here she comes.
That's incredible. I sure hope the audience could capture that. That was unbelievable to see that come by.
Okay, we're gonna do another dive. This time I'll stay a little bit above the runway and do a roll. Roll now. All right, let's do another flyby at full speed. Coming down on the deck.
There's a real one behind you there.
Can't keep up with me.
I guess safety is really important to let other pilots know that you have an aircraft coming in.
Definitely.
Ah, nice. Well, as you said, off the end of the runway is just a little bit too short.
That's it.
Ulysses Cubillos, helicopter pilot, huh?
Yep.
What are we going to do?
We'll do a bunch of competition maneuvers and what we call hot dog maneuvers, as far as like loops, rolls, inverted flight, stall turns, a bunch of crazy.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Wow. Hard to fly?
Very hard, difficult.
Now, I never knew that helicopters could do those acrobatic maneuvers.
Rather unusual for helicopters, yeah.
Do you ever engage in any competitive matches?
Yeah, I've been competing pretty much on a statewide level, going to fun flies like international, as far as like Costa Rica and stuff like that. So,
Fun hobby for anybody, huh?
oh yeah, we enjoy it all.
You're out here every week?
As much as I can.
You ever lost one of these?
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Kind of a sick feeling in your stomach, huh?
It's pretty sick.
What is the investment in a helicopter like this, approximately?
Right in this helicopter right here, I have a bunch of upgrades in the hot dog parts per se. And you're pretty much looking in this helicopter right here. Oh, I'd say about 1,500 more or less.
So let's bring it in for a landing. Show our folks what that looks like.
No problem.
All right, here we come. You have to slow it down a bit.
Yeah. And we just give it a slow. We come out of the transitional lift range. And we just slow it down.
Definitely don't want to get near that blade.
No, definitely. They're very strong, and it's been known to catch a lot of people.
So we go from helicopters to a training aircraft with Herb Shutter and Donna Ray. And what's the first order of business?
Well, the first order of business is to taxi out onto the runway, and then we'll begin taking off.
All right, let's do it. And here we go. You know, so far, everything that I've seen here really looks, I mean, it looks easy to do. I mean, something like maybe I could even do. What do you think?
Well, it's real easy because with the trainer, when you first learn to fly, you have a master box, which is what Herb has. He's going to be taking off right now. And then you have what's called the buddy box, which has a cord hooked to the main the main box, and this gives you full control of the airplane with with this switch, a trainer switch.
Okay, so if I was going to do this, I would use this box, right?
Right, you'd use this one.
Let me ask you a question, and we're going to, I guess, take off now. Would having been a Marine Corps pilot in Vietnam help me in these abilities?
Most of the time it gets you in trouble because...
Well, good, because I was not. I just was wondering. There goes the plane. All right, now I'm going to take over, and Albert's going to hold my microphone for me.
I got it.
Okay, there we go.
And here you go. You want to stay next to her?
All right, here's Herb and I.
Right.
And tell me when I'm taking over.
All right, I'll tell you when I'm going to take over. I'm going to hit this switch.
Okay.
Your throttle is halfway up.
Okay, let's get this over here so the audience can hear Herb.
We're going to make a left turn, and I'm going to keep you at a fairly decent altitude in case you get into trouble. And you've got it.
Okay, now I'm taking over.
You want to make a left turn, a little bit of left pressure on that stick.
Okay.
And elevator at the same. Whoops.
Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Up, you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble.
Oh, I got you.
Okay.
Let me turn you around again.
Not as easy as I thought.
All right. When you make this left turn with the elevator and with the aileron, give a little bit of down pressure.
Okay.
You're flying it now. Slight little left aileron.
That's what I'm doing now. I'm turning left.
Okay, you're doing real well.
Well, thank you.
Is this your first time?
This is my first time ever.
I can't believe it.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It's hard to believe you're doing real well.
I cook with gourmet chefs. I play in bands, on SNAPSHOT, but never have flown. I can't find it. Oh,
there it is.
There it is. Oh, that's scary.
Well, you're making continuous left turns and climbing. At least you're not.
I'm coming.
Oh, wait a minute. What's going on?
I was going to bring it down. I'm coming down a little bit. Can I come down a little bit?
All right, you got it.
Okay, I'm coming down a little bit. Oh, okay, I'm evening out. I'm coming down more. Whoa!
You want to try this again? Okay, you're on.
Oh, no. What did I do?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to bring it around to the left a little bit.
Okay.
Okay,
you're doing real well. You want to try an approach?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay.
Maybe I can land it.
Try a left turn.
Because we do want it to come in the same shape it was in.
We're going to try.
Yeah.
Throttle back a little bit.
Okay, throttle back. There we go, throttle's back.
Okay.
Okay, now what do I do now?
Just let it sink.
Okay, I really know what to do. I'm just checking to make sure you know how to operate this.
Watch the airplane.
Okay.
We don't want to run into ourselves. You're doing real well.
What do I need to do?
Just keep the wings level.
Okay.
You're doing real well. Doing real well.
Okay. All right.
Look at this.
Look at this.
It's
First
incredible.
time. All right. Hey, was that a landing or what? Let's hear it, folks. Hey, Alan Wolfe coming through for you again. Well, that's amazing, Herb Shutter and Donna Ray, and of course Albert holding my microphone for me. Thank you so much for having us out here to your great hobby site. Appreciate it. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Snapshot. Till next time, I'm your host, Alan Wolfe, from out here near the Everglades at the airstrip, saying thank you for watching Snapshot. Keep your focus right here, and we'll see you next time.